according to Middle East Eyes, which is the Middle Eastern mainstream news, the information coming out of Turkey is that Turkey will be training the Nigerian army, Niger, part of the AES state, in fight against militant group, against terrorism. IS Sahel, JNIM, EIGS, and all of those names that a lot of people have been hearing recently. And according to the information, it was stated very clearly. Ankara, that's the capital of Turkey, plans to send battle-hardened military advisors to Niamey as Turkish government crafts a Sahel strategy to deepen relation. Yes, at the end of the day, there is a good side to it, and I think there is a side that, to me, I have concerns with. It's just my opinion of things. So first of all, let's talk about the good side, right? Because at the end of the day, when France abandoned the Sahel and they were trying to sabotage all the effort of the Sahel to type of stamp the authority on curbing terrorism, a lot of people were backing down when it comes to helping the Sahel, when it comes to procurement of equipment. I mean, little equipment of enough effectiveness, of enough combat capability that will be able to deter the enemy. But at the end of the day, when everything seems as if all hope was lost, Turkey was part of the country that actually showed some interest in giving Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso the combat capability to be able to fight against their enemies. They sent tanks, they sent some type of Turkish-made type of weapons, I mean, assault rifles, sniper guns, and we are even talking about the Akinci Bayraktar drones that is very, very peculiar with Turkey, and they gave them recon drones. I mean, Turkey has really, really done a very fantastic job. But let's also understand that these things never came for free. They came with money. But, in a situation where a lot of countries were actually scared of, maybe they were scared, or maybe they just tried to follow the order of the unipolarity that we, friends, I am relating with you. We're not ready to relate with you. But, at the end of the day, Turkey showed they show love to Niger at the time. So now Niger is turning towards Turkey, because at the end of the day, Turkey looks like friendlies, but some people still argue that Turkey is part of NATO, that bringing Turkey in might still be bringing an enemy in. But at the same time, we also have to understand that Niger might be looking at this from the religious perspective. People are driven by a lot of things in life. So at the end of the day, they might feel comfortable with Niger because this news coming out seems like it's very, very credible. And even though the Nigerian government has not stated anything officially, but this news is really, really out on the media. And so many mainstream media actually projected the information. Now, what do I think about this? What I think about it is that it has a lot of caveats to it. First of all, Turkey on paper is one of the best military on the planet. They are very, very strong. They have a lot of military capabilities, from equipment to airborne to sea. Turkey is a very, very powerful country, and economically, they have a very, very strong economic leverage at the same time. And Turkey is that country that, which in my own opinion, I call a very hybrid country, because even if it's part of NATO, they don't really behave like they belong to a single alliance. You have Turkey attending the Shanghai summit. You have Turkey is the guy that tries to, look, I am non-alliant to anybody. Let me just see, if you have something that can benefit the interest of my people, yeah, we are going to be with that. If you have something, so Turkey doesn't really pick a side, but we know that it belongs to a certain alliance, Azerbaijan, and there is a certain country, Turkmenistan or something like that, then Turkey, but at the end of the day, we need to understand that your reputation on paper does not really immediately translate to your battlefield capabilities immediately, because a lot of this whole on paper statistics has really failed a lot of times. You need to talk about the failure of the United States in Afghanistan. They really failed very bad against the Taliban, and to me, I think the Taliban really proved that they are one of the best fighting force on the planet when it comes to their heart. Because there's a lot of things that come into fighting. Technicalities. It comes with strategy. It comes with capabilities. It comes with the heart. I think that is the biggest part of it. And again, we've seen that on paper, a lot of countries have their names high on the list, but we've actually seen them when it comes to modern combat effectiveness and modern combat um, rating, that a lot of these countries have just been they've just been floating the names. It doesn't really, their reputation doesn't really translate to what they can do on the line of combat. Like, most especially, we have to look into the Russia-Ukraine war. In my own opinion, I think NATO has been like de facto fighting Russia. And when the Russian Federation brought out the list of mercenaries that have actually died in combat, in my own opinion, we don't know. The Abraham tanks have failed. Eastern Ukrainian power. Almost a lot of things have been exposed. That you can actually destroy a very expensive military hardware with just less than a $20,000 drone. So so things have really changed. And when it comes to fighting, when it comes to counterterrorism, it's a whole different scenario entirely. Most especially when it has to do with terror groups that actually have funding from people that we know, but a lot of people pretend like they don't know. And you're not just talking about terrorists that just jump out there and they start shooting sporadically. Even if that crude, should I say, crude orientation is still there in the terrorists, you still have to really talk about the ISR. The terrorists don't just approach any region just like that. They already have satellite image. Who is giving them all this information? We don't know. You see the terrorists using drone. They use recon drone. They use attack drone. They use FPV. They've used fiber optic drone. The only drone that I've not seen so far in the Sahel is the Baba Yaga, and I've not seen the Prince Vander of Novgorod, but after that, I don't think there is even a type of gun. We've seen snipers. We've seen a lot of things at the end of the day. But so far, so good. I think the AES forces generally they've transcended into a whole different type of army. While fighting these terror groups, they've become very battle hardened. But now, with the information that the Turkish armed forces are going to be coming, and Ankara is going to be sending some of the most battle-hardened, forces that they have. To me, I don't know. I would not. I think it would help, but they said it will help strengthen relation. It depends on what the intentions of Ankara is at the end of the day. But what I think is, it doesn't necessarily transcend to capabilities, combat capabilities, or effectiveness of the strategy they are going to bring in. Because in my own opinion, at the end of the day, we've not seen we've not seen them in any of, we've not seen Turkey recently. Turkey has not really fought any major war. Like, we've not seen Turkey, prove that capability and prove that rating on paper. The Turkey, in my own opinion, has not really been in any serious conflict recently. In my own opinion, if somebody asks me, who should Niger kind of bring in, I think they already have Russia. But they might improve their security details with Russia, because I think so far so good on the planet right now. I think Russia is number one combat capable, most battle hardened troop on the planet right now, followed by the Ukrainians, the ones that are still living and fighting. I think drone warfare is something that the Sahel should be looking at too, but you have to think about the economic implication, you know, more so like the current flood crisis and all of that energy. They're trying to stabilize the economy, they're trying to build up. So I think the drone warfare might not really be a good direction to go, but for to an extent, I would still say it's still okay. They can use drones that are able to drop payload, and move. For now, it's necessarily not the type of drones that can just go for a suicide mission. So I feel like they need to improve their drone capabilities, so a lot of training needs to go there. And and I think they need to get this training from people that have actually shown on the line of combat that, yeah, they can really prove, they can really be out there, and they can really do something very destructive to the terrorists. Like, in my own opinion, I rate Russia, and right now we still rate Ukrainian forces above any other force that anybody can talk about. Then I go to North Korea, because we have to. In fact, to me, before you even talk about American soldiers, I will still say the Taliban's could be very my bad, but I will still tell you that the Taliban's could still be very viable in this situation. Why am I saying that? Because the Taliban's actually had this methodology of guerrilla warfare, and they know the mindset, they know the games, they know the mind game of what an insurgent can do, how they can plan, what type of non-conventional fighting scenario they can bring up, like strapping the road with some explosive and all of that. So I think the Taliban will even have a whole load of experience, but we don't know until we see. So they talked about military advisors and all of that, but we don't know to what extent the training will go. Yeah, we don't know to what extent the training will go. For the Burkinabes, to me, I don't think they need anything right now. They have a lot of capable soldiers in Burkina Faso. I mean, the VDP, you have some very hard-headed people in the VDP that are ready to go to anywhere at any time with so much courage. In the Malian armed forces, you have the Garcia Special Forces. You have a different Special Forces unit in the Farmer. You have the African Corps. You have a lot of, you have the Dogon Forces. You have the Garcia Militia. You have a lot of good fighting force in Mali too at the same time. But, I think sometimes political instabilities, internal conflict can also lead to negative effects on the result of the outcome that the troops will have on the line of contact, most especially in Mali, because you still have politicians, who still try to sabotage and, one way or the other, and you still have some people that still have these radical ideologies. But at the end of the day, based on what I saw in this military parade for the Malians, I actually do think that the Malians only need to improve the number of troops. That is what I feel like. I think they need more boots. The Malians need more boots. I don't know if they can open the VDP front, if they can allow volunteers from all African countries, after they've been thoroughly screened, to, apply to the Malian military, maybe integrate them into the core value system of Mali, and to defend the interest of Mali at the end of the day. When it comes to Burkina Faso, I think I have too much respect for them. I think Burkina Faso, they got their thing going on, and the VDP program is evergreen. They continue to bring in people. The armed forces, they continue to bring in people. And the beautiful situation about Burkina Faso is this, right? Normally in the military in Africa, you have soldiers, the recruits, the ones that has no military academy education, and you have the officer cadre. Now, in a country like Nigeria, you hardly have officers that go to the line of contact to fight, but in Burkina Faso, everybody is on the battlefield. Everybody is on the battlefield. There is no type of double standard, or maybe as an officer you sit in the office. There's nothing like that. As long as you are paid to defend the interest and to defend the peace of the people, you have to be out there in Burkina Faso. That is the golden rule. And a lot of people don't understand that the terrorists in Burkina Faso, they are not in the major urban, they are not in the developed area. They attack the outskirts. Go and check all the news. You will hear that they attack closely to the border between. You will always hear border. Please, I want a lot of people to always pay attention to that information. It is always the border region. For me, I'm in Nigeria, but I've never been to the border of Nigeria with maybe Cameroon or Benin. I've never been to any border in my life. So people talk about terrorism going on. So it is the look at people that are the most terror infested place in Nigeria currently is Katsina. So Katsina is at the boundary of Nigeria with Niger Republic, and this is where the terrorists always try to perform their operations, because the way the terrorists work is they know that it is very, very difficult for the troops to mobilize, because the troops don't stay at those part of the regions, because definitely that's where they should be. We should have a lot of border guards, security, but Africa, it's always difficult to have these capabilities. But with the need of pressing concerns right now, I think Burkina Faso especially will start building that capability. And we need to pay attention to the military spending, the military budget. Burkina Faso is second highest military budget in West Africa, spending over $1 billion on defense. So, and that is why a lot of people don't understand when the United States continue to mention the name Burkina Faso. Apart from the economic influence of Burkina Faso geopolitically, having rare earth minerals, gold, uranium, having a very good agricultural integrity when it comes to independence. Your food sovereignty is there. But Burkina Faso has a lot to itself right now. No borrowing of loans. The citizens are very united. I mean, Ibrahim Traore, in my own opinion, if you look at it, I think he will live very long. He will live very long because he has a people that really, really back him up. And, Burkina Faso is dominated by the Mosi people. And that's why that's why they call it the land of the upright people, because, they don't really have too much mixed ethnicity like that. So, though they still have other ethnic tribe, but the majority, the people that actually, the founders of the empire, the Mosi Empire, they're actually the Mosi people, and they are very, very united in their thought process. You can see that they love themselves and all of that. But at the end of the day, I think Niger, I think they have to still, at the end of the day, they need to be watchful. I think the Turkish will come in, but you can't just leave the Turkish like that just to have 100% to have their way around. Everybody has strategic interest, and everybody can deviate when not put under control to an extent. So, but at the end of the day, it is their decision to bring the Turkish in. We don't know if it helps and all of that. So, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about this move? Do you think it's going to bring some sort of very drastic, result on the line of contact? Niger has not really had too much issues when it comes to fighting terrorism, the way Mali and Burkina Faso have had, but Niger has faced, to an extent, some type of, contest going on. But at the end of the day, I think these countries will come out on top at the end of the day. That's just what I feel, because they have a united opinion and they have a united idea and a united understanding that it's all about liberation for them at this point, and there is no turning back. So, Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about this new development? It's your boy 7200 signing out, enough said. But before I go, I want to appreciate you all for your support. So far, so good. Definitely, I know a lot of people, they're concerned about the growth, but you have to understand, not too many people tell the truth. I could actually do something else that could actually bring me a lot of views, but that's not my mission. That's not my objective here. I'm an objective creator. I'm not a content. If you call it content, it is what it is. But I had a vision even before I started YouTube at all, and the vision and the mission is to share what I'm doing right now. I was really inspired to do it, and I hope I continue to do it. And may God give me the good health and long life, and may God give you all the good health and long life too, because I am so glued to you guys. And I don't know, it's like having a family in so many places at the same time, but still, you guys are my family. That's our CEO. So thank you for watching, and God bless you. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you, and God bless you.